Welcome to the last video of class 4. This one's on GIFs and why they are weirdly tricky to use. So let's start off assuming they're not tricky to use, and I'm going to load this turtle GIF into my project. It's a nice little GIF, transparent background, very cute. I'm still using this class 4B project folder. I've made an assets folder within that now though, and put my turtle GIF in that folder. So let's load that in as usual. I'll make a variable that will hold my image. I'll use the preload function block to load that image in. Turtle equals load image. Then I'll tell the program where to find that turtle image, and it's at turtle.gif in the assets folder. Let's see if I've done that right. No errors. Sweet. So next step would be, let's try and draw it to the center of the screen on top of everything. So I'll put it down the bottom of my draw loop. Using the image function, I'm going to type in the variable name and width onto, height onto, and I don't have image mode center on. Cool. So now you can see the GIF's in there, but it's choppy. There's like doubled up frames and some missing frames. It's like blinking. If you look at my GIF here, it is rather smooth. No glitchiness at all. So unfortunately P5 doesn't handle GIFs well within the canvas. So what we need to do is something slightly different to what we've been doing. I'm going to delete this line. I'll just comment it out. And we are going to change this load image to create img. And what this is going to do, well, firstly, it's going to tell you it's expecting another argument, but we actually don't need to add another argument to the parameters here. It'll run fine without it. So what create img is doing is making a DOM element. So if you look at the P5 reference, these are all things you can do with DOM elements. And basically what DOM is document object model. So it's kind of the same thing as how HTML works. It organizes information by, like, you know, adding elements to the screen one by one in some hierarchy. So already in our HTML, we have our sketch being loaded in as part of it. We want now to create an image that isn't actually per se in our sketch. It is just another element being added to our entire web page. So what this means is, once we put it on the screen, it's not going to be relative to our canvas. It's going to be relative to the whole window. So let's look at that a bit. First thing I'm going to do is, instead of saying using this image function, now to draw it to the screen, I need to position it. So the way these DOM functions are going to work are kind of like how audio works, where you have, you know, your sound dot play, for example, which we've used before. So in this case, we're going to have turtle dot position, and we're positioning it somewhere on the screen. So we could try and do what we did before and say width onto, height onto, but it will not do the same thing. It puts it somewhere off center. And then if we also like change the size of the window, this for a sec, if we do the same thing again, reload the page, well, sometimes the turtle ends up in weird other places, and it's not relative to the canvas if I were to change the canvas size. So what we need to do is stuff relative to the window. So if we look in reference, we actually have these window width and window height system variables, and we also have win mouse, maybe? Yeah, we have these mouse variables that are relative to the window as well. So when we use GIFs, we have to use these ones. So let's do that. I'm going to change the position to be relative to the window width, and window height. But then also remember, if I do this, it's still not in the middle because it's drawing it from the top left corner of the image. But we can't do this image mode center thing because that's a P5 thing. Instead, we have to offset it manually. So the way to do that is you go to the GIF you have, look at its dimensions, and you just do half the width and half the height and offset by that amount. So in this case, it's 480 by 480, so we're going to have 240 and 240. So window width divided by 2 minus 240, and the height divided by 2 minus 240. And now we got it in the center of our page, and if we were to resize our canvas, it would also be in the center of the page. Sweet, it's all working nicely. Now let's say I wanted to have a cursor with a GIF attached. Pretty much the same thing. I am going to use WinMouse. WinMouse X and WinMouse Y. And I'm going to keep that offset there. If I don't offset it, it will end up off center. So yeah, that's in the center of my mouse now. So that's all you have to do if you want to put GIFs in. They need to be relative to the window. One more thing to mention is, I don't know if I can actually, I can't show this off in this example, but what will happen is as preload occurs on your project, anything that you create as an image, create img, it ends up like loading down the bottom of your screen as another element under your canvas. So actually what you'll want to do is hide the thing before you're using it. So I'd put in setup anything that is a GIF. I would just say turtle.hide, or whatever the GIF is .hide, so that it's not like ruining your page by being down the bottom here when you are going through the rest of the story. And then also when you want it to show up, then you would do, at the moment I've hidden it, you would do turtle show before placing it. Turtle.show. Also maybe if you want something smaller, there's size. Turtle.size. And then you just give the new dimensions. So it was 480 by 40. Let's make it like, I don't know, 50 by 50 would be a nice cursor size. Oh, and then the offset is obviously changed. Let's do the size after. No. Let's save that web page by accident. The offset would only be 25 if it's at that size. That makes sense, right? I resized it to 50 by 50, so I only need to offset by half of the new dimensions. So let's make this all aligned and nicer looking, and maybe 100 is a better size. So this will be 50 and 50. Cool. And then I'm going to, as a final touch in my setup, say no cursor. So that will mean I can't see the actual cursor. I can just see this new GIF as my cursor, and that's not working for some reason. Oh, you know why that's not working? Here, if I remove this, sorry, I just decided to add something at the end of the video to make it look nice, and then I realized why it won't work. So that's actually pretty interesting. You can't hide your cursor here because the you're hiding the cursor on the canvas, but this turtle GIF is not on the canvas, it's a separate element. So if you want to know how to hide the cursor, if you need to do this in your project, you can ask me that. You can do that in the CSS part of the folder, And there might actually be a way to do it with P5. I just haven't looked into that. Anyway, a bit of a weird ending to this video. Cool. See you around. Have a lovely day and or night.